Now we will try to understand the concept around arrays. But before that, right, let's take a real world example and then we will try to understand this. Okay. Let's say you're shopping on Amazon. In Amazon, will you add only one product to your cart or will you add multiple products? Pause the video and think through it. Yeah. It will allow you to add multiple products, right? Okay. Now let's say you are designing an application similar to Amazon, and on the cart page, when someone clicks on the cart page, you only want to show, we don't want to have a vast application where we show the product name, price, total order summary and all. We don't want that. On the cart page, I only want to display the product names. Only display the product names, whatever we are added to the cart. Just think through it. How will you achieve that? How will you achieve that? Yes. So maybe we can say that, okay, let's say we have 3 products in our cart. So we will create 3 variables. Product 1 is equal to, let's say, toothbrush. Product 2 is equal to pen. Let's say these are your 3 products. So we will store in 3 different variables. That's what we can say, right? Product 3 is equal to paper. Like this, we can create 3 variables if we have 3 products in our cart. But think of a real world scenario. On Amazon, you can order hundreds of products in one go. Yes. So will you create 100 different variables like this? Is that the feasible scenario? Is that the feasible solution? No, that is not the correct solution to it. You should not create 100 different variables. So now let's try to understand what should be the solution over here. We have understood the problem statement that if you have to store 100 variables, you cannot go ahead and create that. There should be some mechanism where you should be allowed to store all the 100 products in one variable. For example, something like this. Yes, that will be easier, right? I can store 100 of products in one go. This would be easy solution. So let's try to understand how to achieve this in Java. For that, we will make use of whiteboard to understand the problem statement. Okay. So let's say you are given a continuous memory location like this. Let's say this is your continuous memory location. And your reference variable is pointing over here. Your product's reference variable products is basically your reference variable which is pointing to this memory location. Now, you can store toothbrush in first location. Then I can store pen in second location. Then similarly, I'll store paper in third location. If I want, I can store 100 of products right over here only. And with the help of one reference variable, I'll be able to access that. Yes? Yeah. So this particular approach in Java is known as arrays. This is nothing but your arrays. You can store 100 of products over here and only one reference variable will be pointing to it. So let's say in your products array, you want to store n elements, total of n elements. What will happen in this case? Your positioning will start from 0. I want to store n elements. My size is n. But my position will start from 0. 0, 1, 2. And the very last position will be n minus 1. I'll repeat myself. So your product size is equal to n. That is, I want to store n elements. If you want to store n elements, or let it be simpler, you want to store 5 elements. If you want to store 5 elements, your position will be from 0 to 4. Your first position will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So your position will be n minus 1. Always last index would be n minus 1. Now one more thing. What is the data type of toothbrush? String. What is the data type of pen and paper? String. So you can store element of only one data type. You cannot mix match data type. I cannot store an integer over here. No, that is not allowed. You can store data of only one data type. That's all about the arrays. Now let's try to code this. Let's say this is your array. Now in this entire array, I have stored only integers. So you should be allowed. Now, can you mix match data type? Can you have integer, boolean, strings, everything? No, you are not allowed to have that. Your index will always start from 0 and it will be n minus 1. First index, first position. So if you want to retrieve, if your array name is my array and you want to retrieve element at 0th index, right? If you want to retrieve element at 0th index, you will write my array of 0. So basically your output will be A. If you will write my array of 0, your output will be A. It will give you the first element. Let's try to code that same thing so that we are much more clear now. Okay. So we have already seen that we had products, right? We will make use of that same example, products example. The code basic skeleton is already provided in arrays or Java. We will use that same skeleton. So your products, each one has a data type of a string. Yes. Since they are string data type, you will declare your array of string type. That is, I should be allowed to store only string elements over here. Now, this particular square symbol, right? The opening and closing of square bracket, it denotes that you are creating an array. So basically, this entire thing, the one I've highlighted, this entire syntax means create me an array of strings. That is, I should be allowed to store string elements in that. Similarly, if you want to store integer element, you will store create array of integer type. Let's say numbers is equal to new int. Now you will have another square bracket over here which signifies the size. So if you will type 4, that basically means the size of array is 4. At most, you should be allowed to store only 4 elements. That's all. Now, in order to retrieve a position, right? In our example, in the whiteboard, we saw that index will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So in order to store the element at 0th index, I will say that jute bag. So jute bag will be basically stored at first index, 0th index. In our example, we saw that toothbrush was stored at 0th index. Or let me make it simpler. I'll store toothbrush only at first index so that we are able to recall with the example. Toothbrush. Now at very first index, we have stored pen. Then over here, paper. Now, let's say at the last position, that is the 4th index, I want to store element. So I'll write order items is equal to, let's say pencil. So basically pencil will be stored at last index, 3rd index. Since size is equal to 4, my index range will be 0 to 3. So this is how the elements are stored. Now, if you want to print some element, your array name is order items. So from order items, I'll try to get 0. So it should give me 0th element. Similarly, I want the last element. So I will type order items of 3. Let's run this and validate. Yes, we are able to get the first item and last item. Now, let's do one more activity where we will try to print the size. So in order to print the size, what should be my size? 4, right? At max, I can store 4 elements. So my size has to be 4. So in Java, they have given you dot length. Dot length. So order items dot length. If you will type order items dot length, it will give you the size. So it should be ideally 4. Let's run this and validate. So we are able to get a size of 4. Now tell me one more thing over here. I want all of you to think through it and then you can pause the video. If over here we have given the last index directly as 3, is there any mechanism by which I can make use of this order items dot length to get the last index? Yes. So let's try to figure it out together. Let me create a variable int last index. Can I say this? Last index will be order items dot length minus 1. It will be always order items dot length minus 1. Yes. Why it will be length minus 1? Because it will be always n minus 1. Last position is always n minus 1. So it will be order items dot length minus 1. So this last index has to be order items dot length minus 1. Let's run this and validate. So we are still able to get size of 4. Last item is your pencil as we predicted. This completes our basic discussion around the concept of arrays. Thank you all.